well, more of my reach on you as can you just tell us a little bit about, well, maybe 200 years ago, you know, people in the Isle of Man spoke not exclusively but predominantly Manx. So why was there a sort of language shift away from Manx Gaelic towards English then?
Well, this has been a very common thing found with all minority languages, certainly in Europe and other parts of the world, because when you get a dominant culture coming in, it's much more sexy to speak the language of the dominant culture. And with all the developments, certainly in England, which became the world power in this period when Manx declined, it's not surprising this happened. In fact, it's surprising any Manx survived, really. But it's certainly true that 200 years ago there were thousands of people who didn't know any English at all. And very late on in the 19th century, there were still thousands of people here whose English was very shaky. And the change came about, though, just because of the very strongly held view that you couldn't get on in life if you didn't know English. And probably because Manx, well, English wasn't being taught formally until very late on, really, when they assembled the school system later in the 19th century. But certainly there was a lack of teaching in Manx, and it meant that there was no confidence in it. And I think the mantra grew up that it wasn't a real language, really. They were sort of told this, and the Manx themselves turned in on the language, although I think there are flashes of them showing they were very proud of it about the early 1800s. But most people did want to dump it as quickly as possible and just go to English, because they saw it as a sign of poverty and of backwardness, although there was always a strong element who didn't agree with that at all. So the language just declined more and more, and it was thought to be on the way out completely. But we're very relieved now that there's been quite a strong revival in the last few decades. So that's the story of it, really.
Good remind, wouldn't you? Brian, nodi just inchdaw, well, derchi blaenau dy henne, son a chwyd smooth a sly on selling ban and lot as an gilga, lugchen ren rudden caclair, so cren fair.
Well, hanket de ve goil nere, Jane Guild. Han yet a snudder at a fair that and Chinya Verlich, Tits Jack and Shaw the Ledger, as the stayed as glor ag a Chinya Shen, as the sauce and chip the vein the smooth nyarkle, as son Tamil, the Firinich, the sauce and rail harish and tail the Firinich, as Hanietis that are the Mannin Smunich and well Seidenden, Ginzik a Burl, as Harawad Smunich and McKeown. Friel Cummel and Guild ag a tre killen as Lord Guild as Burl let for Giri given Rayrish in Guild a further our Gorish Cowdage Bachtanis had our Urgadoch thou Mall ons the Inchin of the Guild as the Goyle Nerage Rudinach Gorish and Guild ach Niation as Ulya Dechi Blainen in ye a could smooth in a manami, hello mon a burl oxen. But burl a lyric a ram jam, ach van burl vek a fast a lyric. Ach on some naich ye jag ren and chinnigol shees at a fair, ma do it me that I would come to the road agla, the very lord has a guild. As but smonich that I would go a chigol nach the bollach, which the G to avia the ledger a daggett. Ons na blinte naar de gerrit.
Good my more reach when
you.